Today is August 7th, 2016. In 24 hours, I'm going to be turning 25 years old. Now, as a big fan of bullshit, superstitious pop psychology, I am particularly excited or nervous or something about turning 25 in particular. See, from what I understand, for the first 25 years of your life, your brain is still developing. And when you are around this age, your brain finishes developing. And when that happens, a lot of your personality and your habits sort of start to become solidified. A lot of your beliefs and your general outlook on the world sort of takes form and just hardens there. So, whatever I'm like right now is what I'll most likely be like for the rest of my life. Not to say that I won't change in any way or that I won't do new things, but, and obviously I'm not even sure how real any of this is. Some of it's a mixture of stuff I learned in psychology classes, stuff that people have told me about what they learned in psychology classes, and a whole lot of pop psych. But it's interesting. It's an interesting thought that maybe my brain is about to be finished. It's about to stop growing and just solidify, and whatever I'm like now is what I'll be like forever. And so I kind of want to make sure that if this is the period where this is what I'm going to be like forever, that I have good habits, that I'm in a good mindset, that I'm that it's going to harden in a good position, so to speak. And so I've been trying to make that happen. Like, I kind of have had this mindset for the whole past year and maybe even the past few years that, like, this is the time when I need to get into better habits and be ready for the big 25. So I'm going to take stock of my current, what I'm like right now. What is 25-year-old Digibro like? What are the things that I'm glad I'm like and the things that I regret that I'm like? So my biggest regrets about turning 25 mostly involve being sedentary. The fact that I don't get up much. I don't get up and go places. I mean this on two different levels. Like, I mean, I leave my house probably 2 or 3 times a day, and I'm glad I've gotten into the habit of driving places. I've gotten into the habit of, like, if I want something or there's something I need, I leave and go take care of that, which is something that growing up, neither I nor anyone in my family really had that habit. My parents are the type who, when they come home from work, unless they have something planned ahead of time, they are not interested in leaving. My dad, when he gets home, it's like, once he gets changed out of his work clothes and puts on his home clothes, he has no desire to be back out of the house. And so I kind of grew up in the mindset that was like just the way it was, until pretty much when me and Victor started driving, especially Victor, because Victor, his lifestyle's totally not that. He's out of the house all the time. He's like never home. He constantly goes out to do stuff. And, anytime someone needed something, it usually fell on Victor to go do it. It'd be like, hey, we're out of food, let's go, or let's get food from somewhere. Victor, go drive, and I'll go with him. Let's go drive and pick something up. And through that happening, I started to realize, like, hey, I can leave the house whenever. I don't have this hang up. Because my life doesn't occur in, like chunks like some people's does, where, like, my dad has, like, his morning time where he has to, like, he wakes up, he has like a couple hours of decompression, drinks his coffee, does his workout routine, goes for a run, goes to work, is at work for 9 hours, comes home, changes into his home clothes, sits on the couch, watches TV for a few hours, goes to bed. And it's like that every day. A perfect formula. I have nothing resembling that. I get out of bed, and the first thing I do is different almost every day. Sometimes I wake up and I'm hungry, so I immediately leave the house to go eat something. A lot of the times I wake up because Victor wakes me up to go to lunch. Like, Victor wants to go somewhere and he just knocks on my door, and I'll get out of bed and just jump in a car and go. I don't have any... I'm not like... I guess you could say I'm a morning person, though I'm not usually actually waking up during the morning, but I'm just... I'm ready as soon as I wake up, you know. And then throughout the day, I just kind of stay in the same mindset. There's no like ebb and flow. The time when I go to bed is when I can't take it anymore. When like I've exhausted myself beyond the point of no return. So, you know, there's a lot of nights where because of the fact that I'm up all night, I actually don't usually leave the house to go do something until I've been up all night. It's like, you know, when I want to go check my P.O. box, because the P.O. box opens at 8 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m., so oftentimes I'll stay up past 8 just so I can go and go to the P.O. box, come home, and go to bed. So I'm glad for that habit. But the regretful part is that I don't ever go far and I don't ever go for long. I typically just go out and get something to eat or go to the store and get something. I haven't gotten into the habit of like going places with the intention of just being in that place, you know? There's a public park in my town called Mount Trashmore, which is a great place to run, to hang out, to just be out in the sun, to do like workouts and stuff. They have all these different workout machines there that are just free to the public. It's a great place that if I wanted to become like a more physical, outgoing person, I should be going there all the time, but I don't. And I don't really go to the gym. I don't really go anywhere that's like going to take up a certain amount of time because I'm always worried that, you know, that it's like a time sink or something and I have to do stuff at home. So that's a habit I wish I had gotten into before now. Going out, like for long periods of time. Not just because it's whenever, but like going out to do something other than eat or buy shit. And also to go farther or off of the route, the beaten path that I'm on. This week alone, I've had 2 different days where I got in my car because I wanted to go get food, didn't know where I was going, and just on pure autopilot went down the road that I always go down. Basically, my city has like 3 big roads that are kind of like the veins of the city. One is Shore Drive, which I live on, which is right at the top of the city. Then you go down this long road called Independence. And that road, by the way, Shore Drive is incredibly long, so you can't find where I live just by looking at it. Independence, which cuts down vertically, and then Virginia Beach Boulevard, which cuts across that horizontally. And there's so many like restaurants and places to go just on those 3 roads that I almost never go on other roads. I leave the house and I'll just autopilot go down Independence and just, you know, find something that's on that road. Because it's simple and convenient and I don't have to think very hard about going somewhere else. But I almost never leave the city, and the funniest thing that I don't know why this took me so long to realize. My house is very close to the border of the next city over, which is called Norfolk. Norfolk is a much bigger and more bustling city in terms of like population density. It's got like an actual downtown and like it feels like a city. There's lots of places to go, lots of things to do. Norfolk's right here. Virginia Beach is right here. I live right on the border. And then I constantly drive out into Virginia Beach, never go to Norfolk. I have almost never driven into Norfolk unless I had to go like pick something up from someone. Like incredibly rarely, maybe once a year I've driven into Norfolk. Victor practically lives there. He's every day he's out in Norfolk finding new shit. There's like all kinds of cool restaurants and stuff. And the only reason I don't drive out there is because it takes like half an hour and I don't want to be in the car for half an hour. So that's a habit I would love to break. I also, you know, I don't drive very far to go to things. You know, there's been a few anime film showings that happened in like a couple cities over here and there, but I'm like, 45 minutes to watch a movie, you know, I'm so squeamish about driving long distances. I never go on the interstate at all. So that's a habit I hope that maybe I can break this year, you know, before it's too late. Like if there's a time to make this right, it's now. Like while I'm 25, this is the time I have to fix these problems and start being willing to travel a little bit more distance, you know? Because like, I guess I blow it out of proportion in my head that like if I have to be in the car for like an hour in a day, then that is like all this time that I'm not working on stuff, you know? But that time is probably just gonna come out of how long I spend watching YouTube videos and fucking around. You know, like it's probably not coming out of my work time really. Um, so yeah, like I need to stop having that hang up. Or, you know, and that problem really comes from the fact that I live in such a provincial town and have to drive to get anywhere. Um, so, on to work ethic. I think I've got this one pretty nailed down, which is good because this would have been scary up until recently. So, like in my late teens and early 20s, I had a real difficulty with like getting myself to do things. I would think about doing things a lot, plan things all the time. I always had schedules and planners and stuff like that. Never followed them. Um, Even if it just came to like watching shows. Like for a long time I had such difficulty like marathoning a show as opposed to not. You know, like I don't know, it was such like a mental ordeal to make myself actually accomplish something. And then it was sort of in my early 20s that like I just fought that down and started making things. And then once I started making things and realizing how good it feels to accomplish something, I started doing it more and more. And like, you know, now with my like once I launched my YouTube channel and like started making money through that, then like the prospect of marathoning shows has gotten easier and easier. It's gotten to a point where I've like this past like few weeks when I was doing the finish or fail vlogs, like that's a lot of shows I watched back to back, like, you know, every night doing a 12 episode show, and it didn't even feel like a lot. It didn't feel like a whole ton of shit, you know. It just felt like, yeah, whatever. I watched a bunch of shows and vlogged about them, you know. Getting out 3 vlogs. Like, the only reason I don't put out more vlogs is that I have to stop myself because I get worried about either oversaturating the audience, oversaturating the market of my videos, like, you know, being my own competition for time and stuff like that. And just, if I get too into vlogs, I won't make regular content because I get so upset, like I just want to record all the time. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's good that I'm productive enough that it can be a problem. And I'm still doing pretty fine on like written content and getting out mainline videos. And, you know, as I've been experimenting and trying to do all the stuff I talked about in the last vlog, then I think that'll get even better. I'll be able to get out videos all the time that are not quite as random and like disjointed as the vlogs, but are still able to come out all the time, as opposed to like 4 times a month, like my main written content comes out. And I'm in a good state to take on big projects. After doing the Asterisk War Sucks, I'm like confident that I could do a project of any size. That was literally a novel. I wrote a novel and then had to edit it into a video, and we collectively made a 4.5 hour documentary on how shitty this show is. So I'm pretty confident in my ability to take on large projects, to work fast, to get lots of shit done. So I have no problems with my work ethic. I think I'm about as good as I could be. Now, in terms of health and fitness, I am doing pretty shit. I gave up on the whole idea of fixing my sleep schedule years ago because it's been a problem my whole life. I've never, ever been able to sleep at a fixed time every night. It is impossible for me. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem is, but even as like a baby, I was told that I would never go to bed when I was supposed to. As a kid, I had trouble getting to sleep all of school, all of college, and to this day. And no matter how many times I try to force myself into a sleep schedule, like train my body, I can't do it. The most I've ever gone was like almost 2 weeks where like just by pure coincidence I was sleeping and waking up at the same time. And anytime that happens, it starts bothering me. Like anytime I wake up at the same time every day, there's like certain stuff I won't end up doing. So it becomes a problem. So then I reset my sleep schedule on purpose. That's fine. I'm not that concerned about it. I get a lot of sleep, probably too much. If there's one thing I'd like to change, it would be getting less sleep. I'd love to get like 6 hours or less a night. Instead, I get 8 to 10 usually in one sleep cycle. So I sleep too much compared to how much I'd like to, which is never. I'd love to never sleep. And then eating habits are terrible. I eat out all the time. I love eating out, and like I did a big health kick like the last couple weeks. I went grocery shopping and bought all this health food, and it went pretty well. But I would cheat pretty often, and like once I ran out of food, I've just been lazy about going back to the grocery store, and I've just been eating out. So I'm failing horribly at that. Trying to get an exercise routine going has been a fucking nightmare. I just never want to do it. There's always like other stuff I want to be doing, and like just my work is so non-physical that it's hard to like justify doing physical activity. So those are my biggest concerns. My biggest concerns are that I'm never going to start leaving the house regularly, never going to get into a good fitness routine or a good health routine. But what's going to be a great way to try to fix that is this big move that's happening with Devu and Ben moving in, because Devu has expressed an interest in eating healthy. Like, he wants to get on a health kick as well. And he was like, it'll be easier if we're both doing it, because we could shop together and make sure we keep the, like, good food around and not have a bunch of shit. He was saying that the hardest thing for him about doing that is that he lives in the middle of nowhere, and there's not even, like, a decent grocery store nearby, and there's tons of shitty snack food, and everyone else in his family, none of them eat healthy. So hopefully we can do that. And Ben, he was also expressing interest in getting into a workout routine. So if all three of us start doing like the same health food workout routine, maybe it'll start to work. Maybe Devu can be my gym buddy and we can go to the gym and do shit. So fingers crossed to get that done within this year when I'm 25, before my brain hardens and I develop the same habits forever. What else is there in my life? I mean, most of my life is watching stuff, like consuming media, working, doing vlogs, writing about stuff, doing raps. I'm glad I've gotten into the habit of writing and performing raps. I've wanted to be a musician for like my whole life, and like I always wanted to be a singer or a vocalist, but I never really had a band that I could be a part of. Like I didn't have any kind of music I could sing over. And even though I like my singing, I don't get a lot of compliments on my singing. So I've never seen that as like a worthy avenue to explore. But rapping, people seem to really like my raps, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it, and I've gotten into the habit of writing more of them. I was in a huge slump from like early 2014 until early 2016, because before, all of my raps were about depression, or they were always like about being in a bad mood, and I spent so much of 2015 happy that I just didn't have any ideas for raps. Like, I just never had something to write about because I was too chipper and upbeat, and I can't rap about that. But then once Shade started making beats and I started writing for them, then like I figured out how to just write stuff whenever, come up with more unique ideas, stuff that's not necessarily always about my life, or just to paint my life in different ways, in goofier ways. So yeah, I'm glad I've gotten into that habit as well. I'm glad that I'm able to work so fast that I can bounce between different projects without ever halting one. Like the amount of effort I put into like vlogs and raps and all this other shit that I do, like seems like it should really detract from my main channel, but thanks to the Devu, it doesn't. Because of the fact that all I have to do is write a script and hand it to him, like the rate I get ideas at is pretty much still the same. I usually get about 3 or 4 good ideas for videos a month, and so the time it takes to make them, like, would like if I was doing it myself, it would be like 3 videos a month, and it would take a long time to make each one. But since Devu's editing it and I'm having the ideas at the same rate, there's no reduction in how many videos are coming out, and there wouldn't be more even if I was working faster, because that's the rate I have ideas at. So I think that's a good paradigm, and it's great that I can bounce between all these different things and they don't detract from each other. My rap career has never, taken time away from anything else. So yeah, overall, I think I'm mostly in a good state. The things that need to change are just eat better, get into better habits. I stopped smoking entirely, which I tend to do. Like, because I only smoke like one cigarette a day, but anytime it escalates beyond that, anytime I start wanting to smoke more than once a day, that's when I quit for a while. So I've done that for about the last 3 weeks. So I haven't been smoking at all. I've cut my drinking down significantly. You may have noticed I haven't been drunk in any of the vlogs lately, and that's because I've limited drinking to once a week, only on pub crawl nights. Um, because not because I'm worried about the health effects of drinking, but because it just makes you fat. Like, drinking is how I gained so much weight. Like, my eating habits didn't change that significantly, but in the last year I put on like around 20 pounds just because I started drinking more. And I was drinking a lot. And when you drink a lot, your tolerance builds up, so you constantly need more. Like, if you drink 3 times in a week, then like every single time you need more to get drunk, and therefore you drink ever increasing amounts, and it's like, it's just a lot of calories. And so yeah, that's the only reason. I have nothing against alcohol or being drunk. I love being drunk. Being drunk has never been a detriment to me, like for my work or anything, so it's pretty great. But and I'm definitely going to drink a lot tomorrow when I turn 25, because it's my birthday, and I'm going to go fucking crazy. So yeah, overall, if I can eat better, learn to go to the grocery store more often, learn to not eat out so much, learn to exercise, and make that a habit, then I think I'll be really satisfied with where things go from 25 onward. And I'm not, initially I was thinking of it as like, I'm about to turn 25, that's the moment. But I think I'm going to make it so the year of 25, that's the year of getting everything right. So then when I'm 26, in 1 year, I'll make a progress report on this vlog, or like a here's how it went. And I'll tell you if I kept to these things, if I managed to, in the span of 25, to get my habits corrected, and and be satisfied with my habits for the future. Virginia Beach living is funny because it's kind of like a weird micro city. It's the 31st largest city in the United States by population. So not small, but it's also fucking enormous in land size. So there's a population of 450,000 people, but they're spread out across a pretty huge area. So there's no like city center at all. There's the beach, which has a lot of taller buildings, but most of them are hotels because it's just a tourist trap. And then there's town center, which is like 2 big buildings, a few surrounding them like that are of moderate height, and that's it. It's just like 1 block. So there's no like city in Virginia Beach City. It's just kind of an endless suburb. There's some areas that are more densely packed houses, like townhouses or just shitty houses, there's some of those areas are maybe like a little bit more dangerous and stuff, but it's all neighborhoods. There's nowhere that there's like stores integrated into neighborhoods other than 7-Elevens. There's no like culture of like places to go or things to do. There's just like stuff littered around this gigantic fucking city. So getting anywhere during the day is kind of a pain in the ass because you have to drive all the way across town to get somewhere, and traffic's pretty bad. But at night, nowhere's open. There's only a few places that are open 24 hours, and they're all pretty far across town from me. But the upside is that I'm usually up in the middle of the night, and the roads are pretty much empty. So I drive longer distances, but it actually takes less time because of the fact that the streets are empty at this time of night. So I'm trying to get myself into a habit of going out really late to get places, just because I need to get shit done. For instance, I need to go grocery shopping, and I keep putting it off because the grocery store that's, the ones that are all actually right near my house that I would normally go to are open till like 12 at the latest. And so I have this tendency to, wake up at 6 p.m., get something to eat somewhere, bum around for a few hours, and then before I realize it, it's already 12 and I can't go to the grocery store and get groceries. And so I keep thinking like, well, I'll put it off till tomorrow. I'll put it off till the next time I wake up earlier. But that doesn't happen. So I've just spent 3 days in a row constantly eating out because I'm out of groceries and I haven't gone to get any more. So there's one 24-hour grocery store, a Harris Teeter, that's way the fuck across town, but it doesn't even take that long to get there. So as long as I just stop being lazy and just go to fucking Harris Teeter, then maybe I can save myself for at least a week. Get like a week's worth of groceries so I'm not eating out all the fucking time as I have been. Because it's a bad habit to eat out as much as I do. And I need to quit it if I ever want to lose this extra neck I have.
God. Have you ever seen the video of like...
Coolest thing about grocery shopping at 1 a.m.? Pretty much got the whole store to myself. The amount of time I spent in there was grossly disproportionate to how much stuff I actually got, since I went to a grocery store I'm not used to and decided to look at absolutely everything they had, only to come away with not really buying much. But I do want to talk about another thing I realized I need to change now that I'm 25. No matter where I am, I always seem to feel like I'm out of place. I think this might be some kind of deep-seated thing from the fact that growing up, I was always kind of a weird kid who people always told me I was weird or that I was different or that I didn't belong. And I kind of have like a complex about it. And it doesn't really manifest in a sense of like being worried about what people think of me. I don't really care what people think of me. It's more like I'm worried that I might make people uncomfortable by being around. I always feel like when I show up somewhere, then it's disrupting the natural flow of that place, if you get what I mean. Now, this is worse the weirder I look. When I have the long hair and the beard, it's particularly bad. Right now, I don't look that weird. I do tend to walk around in pajama pants and anime and pony t-shirts and shit, but nonetheless, I don't think it's a matter of how I look. I think it's just that I feel like I'm not supposed to be there. When I'm at places late at night, for instance, like, I was just at Harris Teeter, and the flow team was out. It was just people packing shelves and shit, which is the same job I used to do at Target. And no shoppers were there. I was the only shopper. And I couldn't shake this feeling like, it's weird to be here at this hour. And therefore, if anyone sees me here, it's like, why is there a person here? I don't know. I have this, like, I guess I'm paranoid that people are paying more attention to me than I know that they are. I know no one cares what I'm doing, but I always feel like someone's going to be thinking about whatever I'm doing. And I've been combating that over the last couple of years. I've gotten much better about it. Like, just now, I managed to take my time and just do a full-on grocery trip, which a couple of years ago, I probably would have gone through really fast and tried to get in and out because I would have felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. Even though it's a 24-hour grocery store, the whole point is that they're open whenever I want to come in. So, I managed to take my time, took a little bit of footage in there, but I also, I am always paranoid about recording anywhere. Like, even in my own car, like, if I'm in a parking lot outside of a place, I feel like if I'm recording myself and someone sees me, they're going to be like, what's that guy doing? I'm always scared of what's going to happen if someone asks me what I'm doing, even though all I have to say is, I'm doing a thing. I'm making a YouTube video. It's like I just don't want to have to deal with anyone asking me about what I'm doing at all. It's just a weird kind of paranoia because it doesn't matter. Like, none of that shit matters at all. I probably won't get in trouble. I probably won't really be disturbing anyone. It's just this bizarre paranoia that has me, whenever I pull out my phone and, even hold it at an angle like I could be recording, I'm, trying to be discreet and make sure nobody sees me, I'm going to combat this. I'm going to fight it real hard, and I'm going to start with Otakon in a week, because every year at Otakon I've had this problem where I feel weird about having my camera out, even though it's a convention. Everyone's got their cameras out. Everyone's recording stuff, And this year I'm actually press. I actually have a press pass. So like no one could even tell me to stop, if they wanted to. And I have recorded stuff here and there. I mean, I've been press at like BronyCon and I didn't even record there just because I feel so weird about it. But this year I'm going to record fucking everything. I'm going to go ape shit and record everything I do at Otakon, hopefully, and find some cool stories to make out of it for this channel. And, yeah, I'm just kind of sick of not having footage of cool stuff because I'm too scared to pull out a camera and take a picture, or pull out a camera and take video, when I see that there's other people who do it all the time. Like, what really hit me was H3H3 Productions. Like, when I would see Ethan, who clearly looks like he's uncomfortable doing the things he does, but he does them anyway because he knows it'll make for great videos. And so whenever I see him doing, like, weird stuff out in the streets, I'm like, man, I could be doing that. And I mean, granted, in New York, people are used to seeing weird shit. Not so much in Virginia Beach, but nonetheless, that's a paranoia I want to overcome before I turn 26. It's about 8 in the morning, which is around the time I would normally be going to bed, and I'm pretty tired. But I'm concerned that if I pass out now and sleep till 5 p.m., as I probably will, or at least till 3 or 4 p.m., then I'll repeat that cycle and then sleep through the whole day on my birthday, and I don't want to do that. Now, I think it would be really neat if I stayed up all the way till like 4 or 5 p.m. and then slept until like midnight, woke up at midnight, and then just tried to stay awake for the entire 24 hours of my birthday. I think that would be a pretty fun way to do it. But then, by the end of my birthday, when I'm doing all the stuff like going out to dinner and drinking, I'm going to pass out probably pretty quick. So I don't know. It depends on whether I get so tired I can't take it anymore and just go to bed. Anyways, I remembered another thing that I want to change about turning 25, but this one I might have already started succeeding at because it hasn't been as much of a problem the last couple of months, which is constant paranoia about whether or not I'm getting enough videos done. This is something that's been my whole life. Like, I always am paranoid that I'm not getting enough videos out or getting enough product out. Back when I was an anime blogger, it was blog posts and stuff like that. I always sort of have it in my head like a certain amount that I want to be done in a month. And the thing is, it's not that I think I don't need to get that many out. I do. It's the paranoia over getting them out is distracting, and it doesn't help anything. All right, here's a good way to put it. To go back to when this was really extreme, back when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I hated doing homework, as most people do. But I hated it in such a way that I just wouldn't do it. But I felt guilty about the fact that I wouldn't do it. And I felt like I couldn't do anything else because that would be distracting me from my homework. So, like, let's say that I wanted to watch a certain show. I wanted to watch an anime. But I would get it in my head like, well, if I watch this anime, then I'm doing that instead of doing my homework, so I better not. So I would just not do anything. I would just sit there all night and do nothing. No homework, no anime, nothing getting done. And this problem persisted all the way up into college. And this is a huge part of why I dropped out of college, a huge part of the problems that I ran into while I was there, because I couldn't get anything done. I would just constantly be worried and paranoid about what thing I'm supposed to be doing but don't want to do, and then also not doing the things I want to do. Huge problem. And it persists now in a lesser form, but when I get to a new month and I don't have any ideas for videos yet, then I freak out. Because, I know I want to have 4 videos in a month. And sometimes I start a month with no ideas, or just one idea. And, the entire month, until I have all my ideas, I'm just freaking out about it. I'm like, oh my god, I shouldn't be playing video games, because if I'm playing video games, I'm not coming up with ideas. If I'm doing this, I'm not coming up with ideas if I'm doing that. And there's an obvious reason that that's not helping me, because I'm not doing things that could give me ideas. But I'm also paranoid that if I do those things and they don't give me ideas, then I'm fucked. The fact of the matter is, I always come up with ideas. There's never been a time, except for maybe last September, the time between, like, the Hideaki Anno video and the Asterisk War video. That was the last time that I had, like, a big gap where I didn't have any idea I particularly wanted to do. Not that I didn't have ideas. I actually have, like, 3 incomplete videos that I started writing at that time. But they were more ambitious than they were worth to finish. But they might get finished eventually. In any case, I guess, moral of that story, I'm never out of ideas. And so I spend so much time paranoid about it, but then once it hits all at once. And the thing is that, like, time management is not a problem, because I write obscenely fast. I am an extremely fast writer. All of my videos come together very fast, because once I have the idea for a video, I pretty much know what I want immediately. It's rare that I don't. The aesthetic is narrative video was the last time I had a video that, like, was an actual struggle, because I had so many ideas for it that I didn't know which ones to pick, and so I had to, like, construct each bit of it one at a time and, like, really focus on what it was going to be. But most of the time, I just wrote a video just now that I got the idea for, like, right at the start of the month, like August 1st, I think. I had the idea. And by the end of the day, I knew everything I was going to say in the video. And the only reason I didn't write it until just now is because I was distracted with other things. I was, like, making a bunch of vlogs. I rearranged my room for 2 days. Me and Victor did that workout video. There was something I did the day before that. Oh, I finished the Psycho-Pass vs. Psycho-Pass 2 remaster video. I edited a lot of podcasts. I did a Let's Play, like 6 episodes worth of Let's Play with Victor. So basically, I kept myself busy with a bunch of other stuff and didn't get around to writing the script until today. But, like, and in the back of my mind, it was niggling, like, I really got to write that script. Like, I got to get it done before this Sunday is over. Like, I got to get it to Devu before I go off to Otakon. But once I actually did it, it was done in, like, less than 3 hours. Like, because I already had the idea so solidly in my mind, I knew exactly what I wanted to say, so I just sat down and delivered and wrote the whole fucking thing, and it's there. And then I voiced it and sent it to Devu, and now that's my part of the job. My part of the job is to write the video, voice it, send it to Devu, he edits it. And so, like, all that, like, 6 days worth of buildup of me being like, oh shit, I better make sure I do that video, is all for, like, this little 5 or 6 hour chunk of time that it actually takes to do it and deliver it. And when I get ideas, like, later in the month, I usually write them immediately. Like, holding off on writing something for 6 days is not normal. It was just that it's because I've gotten into a new mindset where I'm starting to move away from that paranoia, where now I'm starting to realize that I know I will have ideas, and so I should stop concerning myself about it and just do whatever I want to in the moment. Which is why I've been able to do so many vlogs and so many raps and stuff like that, because I've stopped worrying so much about whether or not I'm going to get those 4 videos out, because I will. It's going to happen. Because what always happens is, at some point in the month, I spontaneously, out of nowhere, get an idea and write it immediately, and it's great, and then, all that worrying was for nothing. All that sitting around going, oh, I gotta make sure I think of an idea, I need to have 4 ideas by the end of the month, and then at some point just, oh, I watched 2 episodes of some show and suddenly had an amazing idea, and then I write about it, and it's over. So, yeah, like, again, this is a problem I'm in the process of fixing. I feel the best about this I've ever felt, of, like, being able to take a step back and just enjoy whatever I want to do and not worry about what I have to do or what I think I have to do, but just what I want to do. And, yeah, I hope that's how I stay forever, and that I could get over that paranoia that's been haunting me since I was a fucking child. And that is probably the end of this vlog, because the best way to keep myself awake for the next few hours is going to be to edit this vlog. So I'll see you in the next one, which is on my birthday, which is going to be a mailbag episode, because some people sent me mail that specifically says, do not open unless it's your birthday.